committee, I move to adopt ordinance number 2016-3, large-scale concentrated feeding operations ordinance.
Motion's been made to adopt the ordinance. Is there a second to that motion? Second by Bucky. Is there any further discussion at this time? Bill?
I think this is a good ordinance for us to adopt. I think Linda described well the process that the committee went through, and as pointed out, this is new ground. There's not another operational ordinance that we're aware of in the state, and it's not legally tested ground. But there is the Supreme Court case that Linda has referred to. I think all of our constituents know that a good deal of local control has been taken from us with regard to regulation of the siting of CAFOs. And they understand that, but I think they're asking us to do whatever we can to exercise whatever local control we have left. And here's some new ground that I think they want us to seize, and there's a legal basis for doing that. And it seems to me it's the best option we have, the flexibility to describe both by Linda and by Jason, to try to minimize the risks that all of us are concerned about to the greatest extent we can, using the local powers that we still have. So I encourage everyone to vote for it.
Thank you. Any other discussion at this time? I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Miller. Crandall.
Yes.
Rondo.
Yes.
Wendling.
Yes.
Hussey.
Yes.
Jardine.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Kittleson.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Ossaroo.
Yes.
Strand.
Yes.
Williams. Pechanich.
Yes.
Motion carried. The ordinance is it's appreciated, all the hard work the committee's put into it. The next item would be a discussion and possible action regarding Mayfield County amended ordinance number 2016-2604, South Fish Creek Watershed Animal Waste Storage and Management Ordinance. Linda, could you elaborate on this for us also?
As you heard in the presentation by Jason, while there's a lot of good news about the current water quality in our region of the state, and there's certainly a desire to keep it that way, there was evidence that the South Fish Creek watershed has already been impaired, or already suffers from impairment. And for that reason, the committee has approved an ordinance to address manure storage in a particular fashion in that region, and in a fashion that would exceed state standards. We are required under Wisconsin Statute 9215, when regulating issues having to do with water quality in a manner that exceeds state standards, to seek permission from the Department of Natural Resources. And that is precisely what this ordinance would do. It's an ordinance that contains some specific provisions for the storage of manure, and I think Jason went over that pretty well. Spreading windows and the increased length of storage capacity, rather. And the ordinance itself proposes that this would be adopted, but it wouldn't actually come into effect until it is approved, hopefully, by the DNR. We would rely upon the research that's been done by the committee that reflects that the South Fish Creek watershed is impaired, to make a case to the DNR that because of that impairment, more restrictions than what's called for generally at the state level are necessary in that particular region. I don't know, and I can't say for sure that the DNR is going to approve that, but the worst they can do is tell us no. And then, we'll have to move on from there. But at this point, merely adopting the ordinance and saying it's going to be effective when it's approved by the DNR, I think is a reasonable step to take. It's going to be submitted to the DNR. It's an acknowledgement that in that region, these are the standards we want all CAFOs to abide by. There was some mention earlier that these are not manure storage requirements that would apply to smaller farms. It's possible that's something the county wants to consider, this or some other manure storage, but at this point, this is CAFO specific, and it is South Fish Creek watershed specific. It does exceed state standards, and we rely upon the evidence that has been gathered that's specific to South Fish Creek watershed to try to get DNR approval if indeed the ordinance is passed by the board.
Thank you, Linda. Is there any questions? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Brad.
the committee recommends adoption of this ordinance by the county board. On behalf of the committee, I move to adopt ordinance number 2016-4, South Fish Creek Watershed Animal Waste and Management Ordinance, and that it be submitted to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for approval in accordance with section 92.15 of the Wisconsin statutes and NR 151.096 of the Wisconsin Administrative Code.
Is there a second? Second by Kathy. Is there any further discussion at this time? If not, I'd like to call a roll call vote.
Crandall.
Yes.
Rondo.
Yes.
Lindley.
Yes.
Bussey.
Yes.
Jardine. Mackey.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Osterman.
Yes.
Strand.
Yes.
Williams. Johnich.
Yes.
Miller.
Okay, before moving on to the next item, I'd like to take a second and personally thank the Large Livestock Committee and the members from the county board that were on it, as also the advisory committee members, which we have all sitting over here. I think everybody in the audience at one time or another have seen them or met them. We have Jason Fishbach, we have Terry Kermalis, Ben Dufford, Rob Sherman, Dr. John Sauer, and Michelle Dale. Alex was just here, he must have stepped out. Mixed him up. There you go. And Dale Peacock, which is not here. So. I think the audience likes to thank you.